Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to another episode of LunarCrush Live. Joe and John here again. I might have a little delay today. I've got some camera issues going on, but we'll get through it. John, how you doing today, my man?
I'm great. I'm excited about NFTs today and all the activity I see on our site.
And we're giving away socks.
We are giving away socks to
Talk about the
three
sock giveaway
lucky.
first.
Sure, we are giving away some custom LunarCrush branded socks to three lucky winners that are level 3 or level 4 on the site, which means they have to hold 100 or 500 lunar. And they win a lucky pair of socks. I think
They
you're
are
gonna
some
check them.
pretty epic socks, I will say.
They are beautiful. I'm gonna wear them every day if I win.
Cool. So today we're joined, by the team at Nulls. We got Burzek and Kathy backstage. And our disclaimer, as always, we do not take payment for our live streams. We bring on fun, hardworking individuals who have dedicated their careers to this industry. You go ahead and get in there and ask some questions. A lot easier for us to get to them on Twitter. So if you reply to the thread, go for it. But we'll do our best to get to everything we can. And hit that subscribe button. We've got a lot of good projects and cool and fun people coming on here soon. So definitely hit that subscribe button so you get an email. Looks like we got one tomorrow with Eternity already. Wow. So I'd pay next week. So cool. A lot of fun stuff going on. So without further ado, Kathy, Zach,
Hi there.
To LunarCrush Live. How you guys
Hello,
doing?
hello there.
Hello.
Good to see you guys. So how we always like to start the show is where are you in the world and what's it like there? And maybe Kathy, we can start with you.
Sure, I'm in San Jose, California, and it's always beautiful here.
That's awesome. Yeah. And Brzek, where are you in the world? And what's it like there?
Well, I am in Bolivia, in South America. Santa Cruz is the city I am with. First, English is not my native language. Please forgive my bad English. I will do the best to express myself properly. So a little tolerance will be appreciated.
Oh, of course. So I'd love to hear a little bit about both you guys. Kathy, you were talking for just a second about beforehand about how, you were on Telegram years ago and, you love to, see new faces in the industry and more people all over the place. So maybe you can talk a little bit about how you got into the industry and what led you to Nulls.
I've been in IT most of my life, and I've supported systems, and then I moved to the Bay Area, and I worked for two companies that sold to the enterprise space. And IT is always the same. You're always protecting data. You're always guaranteeing it's available 24/7. And it's hard work. It's hard work doing that. There's always somebody who wants to get at your data, or there's always a mistake that you make or someone else makes and you've got to work together in order to get the data back and available. And then I discovered blockchain, where basically the infrastructure that supports your data, which is the blockchain or the ledger, however you want to call it, sits on the internet all by itself. It just sits there, and it's protected by the design of the blockchain, by the encryption that's set up inside the blockchain, and it's also protected by the protocols that are defining how the blockchain or the nodes are going to respond to different situations. And it's phenomenal. It does all the work that IT professionals have been trying to do for years. So I moved into the blockchain space. It wasn't an easy move, and it's been really well worth it. By not easy, I mean, it takes a while to say, I know something about blockchain. And it took a while to find somebody who welcomed me to join their team. And that was Nulls. And I met them at an event one day, and continued to talk to this guy for about 4 months. And then he introduced me to Brzek, and here we are.
Rest is history. I like that. It's an interesting way to think about it by saying it sits on the internet all by itself,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Like if you think about what you said there of its security and its availability,
Mhm.
it's just built right in, right? That's interesting. It's such a simple and nice way to think about it. Brzek, tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get in the industry? What led you down this path?
Hi, I am a software engineer with 20 years, more than 20 years of experience. I am in the field like more, well, 6 years, I think. I started with Nulls on 2018 uh, as a developer. I am the one that designed the microservice infrastructure, which Nulls is based. But now I am in charge of the Western operation, and so not too much time coding anymore. But well, you gotta do what's necessary to move forward, right? So here we are. Thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah, for sure. And maybe you guys could just talk a little bit about, like what is Nulls? Like what's the elevator pitch? Like, what's the problem you guys are trying to solve here?
Brzek?
Yes, yeah, sure. So let's answer this with a question. What is the most important thing in technology? I mean, what's the constant? The only constant in technology is that you need to have the ability to adapt and evolve faster than anybody. And this includes crypto. It's a new industry and it's progressing too fast. If your project cannot evolve faster, then probably you will be left behind. So no matter what technology you have, you need to move forward with the technology and the industry. To do that, we have designed from scratch a microservices infrastructure, which allows us to move faster because each module can be coded in a different language. In fact, Nulls and Nerve are coded with C++ and Java, something that we haven't seen this ability with any other project. So each module by itself is an application. So, for example, the consensus module technically can even live on another server altogether. You can deploy modules individually and just change each module, and you don't need to change the whole program in order to make upgrades. In the end, this leads to zero time upgrades and other features that companies like Google, Facebook, and biggest development companies in the world are using. This is why we chose this architecture. So if it has a lot of benefits, why not everybody is jumping on? Well, the reason is because it's very complicated to do a blockchain project from scratch. It requires a lot of time and money, but well, we spent 2 years doing this migration. So the result is Nulls 2.0, and well, it has evolved a lot faster. So in the same time, other projects needs to do their upgrades. We do it a lot faster, and hence we are a small team, but with a lot of technology that surely we will speak for further on the program.
So you mentioned Google, one of the largest Web2 companies out there, and you mentioned kind of integrating their stack into Nulls, and sort of in different kind of ways, piece by piece, with what makes the most sense. What are you seeing coming from Web2 companies thinking about Web3? What exactly is the demand from them?
I mean, there's nothing, all corporations are not evil by themselves, regardless of what most crypto people say. There are some things you need to copy that are worth the technology. And these companies have invented a new architecture called microservices. And that's what we adapted to the crypto world, because this means that upgrading a system is a lot less expensive and costly. So you can evolve at a faster pace. You can integrate more developers with different development backgrounds and be productive a lot faster and that kind of thing. So we copy this architecture from those companies and adapt it to the crypto world. Of course, we have a lot of technology that we are going to speak further on. But my point is, no matter what technology you have now, in 2 or 3 years, you will become obsolete if you don't evolve. And that's probably our most valuable feature, that we are able to change consensus system in just one upgrade. No, that can take just few weeks to plan, and not 2 years or 3 years, which other projects are facing. So that's what I wanted to highlight, because there's something we didn't see on other projects.
So the crypto market obviously evolves maybe faster than any other industry in the world right now.
Yeah.
Right.
Correct.
That evolution, is it making its way to the enterprise? Is it making its way to corporations? Is it making its way to what we traditionally have called a company? What are you seeing? What are you seeing as far as that evolution goes? Other than technology aside, what are you actually seeing out there?
Absolutely, yes. Why? Because what companies and corporations want? Just making money. So you need to answer yourself. Can corporations make money with blockchain? The answer is absolutely yes. So you bet 100% sure that the crypto will penetrate the corporation world by storm, because it's easy to monetize. It's a really useful technology that can increase income and decreases costs. So it's a natural fit for companies, and this will penetrate all types of industries. The reason why it's not doing right now, it is because crypto itself is pretty complicated. I mean, the technology behind the details are not trivial to learn. So it needs to be a phased transition. It's not all or nothing. It will be a phased transition. Another complication is that, unlike many people believe that everything should go to the blockchain. Hey, let's throw to the blockchain. This will solve all people's life, and that's not true. There are things that work well centralized, and there are other things that are perfect fit for decentralization and hence blockchain. So the challenge here is for companies learning how to map their business process and what belongs to the blockchain and what belongs still to a centralized system.
Yeah.
So that's the real challenge that will take a few more years to pan out.
Yeah, it also seems like the challenge is them having the right people to think that way. Like they're used to thinking a certain way and architecting applications a certain way, and monetizing users' data a certain way. They're not used to sharing ownership. So, and they're and it's also an interesting thing where you think through, like, some of these very large corporations, we're talking applications that if they really went on the blockchain, like say if Twitter really went on the blockchain, how many transactions a day is that if they really went on the blockchain? Like like what scales to meet that demand, and how do they get people internally to think around it? And I guess that's always kind of a question that we have, like, where does that demand actually start and where does it migrate to? Like, obviously it's like, it's one thing if Budweiser launches NFTs, and it's another thing that if they launch their entire supply chain on a blockchain. Two different worlds. And I guess my question to you guys would be like, where do you see that right now? Where are these companies as far as their mindset goes? Maybe Kathy.
I think that when it comes to mindset, I don't think any of us knew what blockchain was until we got into it. We kind of backed into it. The concept of centralized versus decentralized is easy to understand on the surface, but it's very subtle to actually really get it. And so I think the companies will understand performance because that's where their bread and butter is. So they'll figure out how to deliver on the performance, but actually embracing blockchain, I think blockchain will kind of embrace them because they'll realize that they have to start thinking that way in order to achieve what it is that they want to. They won't know that they need to change their thinking when they go in. Did that make sense?
Yeah, I think so. It's like about efficiency and things like that. It'll just kind of naturally happen over time is kind of what you're saying.
Yeah, but this thing about centralization versus decentralization, the fact that the protocols actually own the work and know how to get it done, and that you don't need a hierarchy or a top-down structure, that's a very different mindset than traditional IT has.
Exactly. Like, and that's a sea change. Like
Yes.
that right there to say like, yeah, we're going to share, like even think of earnings, like what your earnings are in crypto that are partially owned by your users. How do you report those earnings? Where does crypto fit within that balance sheet in a sense? And how do you think about that, from budgeting and, is crypto and blockchain in general, is it an innovation project or is it something that runs the company? And that's kind of an interesting thing that I think we think about a lot.
That's a very different way to look at life and to start thinking about how does crypto mainstream, or how does it become mainstream? Thank you for that. I'd actually never thought about that. I kind of just think about more immediate problems. But I like that. I like that. Thanks.
So for Nulls, you guys, is it, what are you guys, do you have kind of like, pilot stages with any of these companies? Are there things that are kind of in production? What are some of the use cases that you guys are seeing, or are people kind of gravitating towards as you're going and talking to them? And like, what are their kind of like internal roadmaps look like, if you do get a deal and you're starting to go out and kind of be a part of that? And then how do you go and then support that? Like, Kathy, you got customer success, right? Like, how do you go support one of those pilots that comes in? And is it, hey, they're going to go spin up, some sort of microservice based on, you guys are saying, hey, they can do it a lot quicker based on the languages that are being written. Like, what are some of the use cases that you guys are seeing for some of this stuff? And then how do you support it?
Okay.
So,
Sorry.
okay,
Go ahead,
no,
Kathy.
please go ahead, Brzek.
Okay, sorry. We have a platform called the SEO platform, which is like a launchpad, but a little different. I can go further with the details. But in general, the way we help some companies starting and interested in crypto is just what I said, how to map their business processes to the blockchain. What data should be put there, and what data should still keep centralized, and that for that you require a lot of experience first on the blockchain space, and then on at the business level, how businesses manage their inventories, for example, their accountants, their other divisions of the company. So we help them to migrate their data, some of the data that makes sense, to the blockchain. This is one way we help companies. Another way is that we have the SEO platform, which is kind of a launchpad where our investors stake directly in their projects, and of course they receive their tokens, and in return the projects receive the nulls generated as reward. As you guys know, on several POS derived blockchains, people can stake their tokens for more tokens. The same, but instead those nulls going to the staker, they go to the project itself, themselves. So this means that our it's not like other platforms where the rewards are artificially and manually infused to the network. The rewards here are, the incentives are from the network itself. So the rewards come from the network itself. So this means we can scale indefinitely with a lot of projects, and we don't require any TVL lock for them to be profitable or viable, because all the rewards can come directly from the blockchain itself. Those are the two most ways we use to educate and help our partners. Kathy, you were going to complement something?
Oh, I think our SEO platform is one of the best features that we have, and that's just because I love the platform and I'm biased about it. It's right now we have 38 projects on the platform, and we have some additional projects that are in the wings that are waiting to come on board. And for all the projects that we have a vetting strategy for them, which really is something that Isham and Brzek manage, so that because basically we want to make sure that the projects are legitimate and they have a runway, and we're comfortable with them. And but it really is great because it gives people the opportunity to invest or stake in each of these projects. And when they do, they invest the token Nulls, and what they receive back is the tokens for the project. So it's a great way for them to get in on the ground floor and receive tokens for a brand new project that possibly was created even 3 months ago or less. It's
And
really
they're
great.
earning that Nulls.
And I gotta tell you, it's a huge variety of projects. Like, even if you just go to the platform to look at the different projects there are there, you'll see the different ways that people are pushing the envelope for what is possible in crypto. It's really amazing. And I'm sorry, Joe, I interrupted you. What were you going to say?
I was just saying, and they're earning the Nulls through being a validator on the network, and then that could be then utilized to potentially invest in some of the projects, or the projects by owning Nulls, you're kind of autonomously being invested in these projects and receiving tokens from everything on the network? Or do you get to kind of select which projects yourself that you want to be a part of?
You just select which projects you want. And so some people are serial investors, and they'll invest in a series of projects across time, and some people camp in specific projects. But you're staking in the project that you choose to stake in, and then you receive the tokens that are equivalent for the staking that you're doing for that project. You receive the tokens for that project. And in return, though, the project itself receives the income for the staked Nulls that the people have staked in your project. So it's a win-win. The project receives Nulls, and the investor or the staker into the project receives the tokens.
Yeah, so it's a swap. And so that means as a project coming on board, and you guys kind of talked about this, like the enterprise side of it, projects have to kind of build that into their roadmap a little bit, where they're saying, hey, like, this is the way that, like, for my token to operate in this manner, like, I'm kind of in a long tail saying, like, this is how I want to, have funding, or have someone potentially be a community member and part of my project is kind of always part of that? Or can they kind of, not basically always utilize that part of the blockchain, and they can kind of build just a standalone thing on their own, or does that always have to be a built-in feature of what they're doing?
So are you asking, is being a community manager and some kind of DAO setup something
More or
that people
less
build
like,
in?
so it's like, what if I want to use Nulls for you're like, hey, I just want to run a microservice, because I like the technology, and I can use like JavaScript and C++, and I'm not as worried about like having people staking their Nulls in order to get my token, but I just want to use the technology. Can they do that? Or by selecting Nulls, they're kind of saying, hey, like in perpetuity, I will always have this kind of token swap mechanism for people to stake on Nulls and receive my token.
Oh, no, people can just develop on Nulls anytime they like. The advantage of the SEO platform, I think, is truly community. The advantage is community because suddenly you're in a community of other developers and other developers and projects who have similar and different challenges than yours. So it's a way to create partnerships and find out what other people are doing. And also, it's a way to partner with Nulls so that we can work on marketing opportunities and other opportunities to get their name out there. And that's just a feature that we provide. But you can just show up and develop on Nulls and join a Telegram group and say great things about Nulls or talk about what you'd like to see.
How do you, I mean, so this is a big topic in crypto. Like, we've got many layer ones that have, in most cases, these experimental projects that are sort of launching, because when you dive deeper, a lot of them don't have a lot of holders. A lot of them don't have a lot of transactions, and some do, but they're far and few between. Because it's early. It's early. I guess how do you look at the growth of those projects that are building on Nulls? Like, what are you trying to, like, which directions are you trying to push forwards? Like, are you focused on enterprise? Are you focused on DeFi? Is it NFTs? How do you kind of look at that ecosystem?
That's a very good question. And let me answer this, Brzek, and then I'm going to give it over to you. I would say that what we're mostly looking at is the project viable? We want a project that has integrity and a project that we think can go someplace. Brzek?
Thanks, Kathy. Also, I want to compliment. We try to, when you start a project, generally it's okay. So how do we start? Where do we begin? Should we create a community? It's not just the technical part, but it's all the community thing that it's important in crypto, very important. So the SEO platform targets these small startups that do not have millions of dollars to invest on hiring a lot of people on different areas, and we help them building their community because they are introduced to our community, so all our community knows about this project, and our community have the chance to taste, so to speak, the token without risking any Nulls. This distribution is done in 4 years, the tokens. So every staker receives a small amount for every period of time. This gives a lot of opportunity for our stakers to research on these small projects. And this small project benefit because they have exposure for all our community. And this is creating a nice dynamic because of how it works. It's very important. For example, our stakers cheer for the project because it's in their direct beneficial interest for the price of that token to increase because they receive more value for the same amount they are staking. On return, the project itself cheers for Nulls because if the price of Nulls increases, they receive more value for the tokens they are distributing. So it's like enforcing a cooperative community instead of a competitive one. And this is starting to work well because all projects are talking between each other, forging partnerships, making co-marketing activities, and so on. So the program is achieving these goals this way. We are bootstrapping the community building with these projects. The more we grow, the more community we will have join it. So the more we'll benefit the projects that sign with us. Yes.
It's definitely novel. I mean, I haven't heard of, like, you can't stake Solana and then go pick which project on Solana to receive dividends in, or staking rewards or distributions, right? Like, that's not, I haven't seen that anywhere. It's pretty cool. So this SCO platform, you kind of have a little bit of a box for people to kind of go in, like you said, four-year kind of vest, and like some of the things that maybe a lot of projects are like, what are tokenomics? Like, I just want to build my dApp. Right. So it sounds like you guys are kind of helping fit them into a little bit of a box there, which is pretty cool. And then, Kathy, you said, you're looking for integrity. What does integrity mean to you and the team? And then, is there a foundation or a DAO or governance that's involved with that to make the decision? So if, like, we went on there right now and John and I are like, we got a new food truck dApp idea that we're going to decentralize every food truck in LA and, spin off the rewards of our food truck, depending on what's going on. Like, if we wanted to do that, we submit a proposal. Is that high enough integrity? Are you looking at the founders? You're looking at, like, what are you looking at to make that decision?
Well, I'm going to defer that to Brzek because it is Brzek who ultimately okays a project to come on board.
Yeah, sure. So, of course, there are some minimum set of requirements, having a web page, Telegram community, Twitter, but mostly we try to talk directly with them. So we are at least have a minimum guarantee. They know what they are talking about. It's not just a blatant scam or a blatant rock poll with a nice PowerPoint presentation, and that's it. So I try to figure out if they really have the knowledge and the development skill to at least try to achieve a successful product or what they are offering. Of course, there are no guarantees because we had some 2 or 3 rug polls that have everything perfect, nice web page and everything else. And the team know about crypto, so they passed this test, and later on they rock poll it. But the good thing with the SEO is that the nulls are safe. People never risk their nulls, so people just receive back their nulls staked, and they move for another project. So we minimize this risk for our investors, and that's why it's interesting, because you can invest on new projects, very high risk, and not risking your principal investment.
So I want to double tap on that, but I want to go back to, you said you're looking for, you're looking at a little bit of community, but then you're looking at the people and you're talking to the people to see if they know what they're talking about. How do you know if they know what they're talking about?
So they have a product. Okay, we will build, let's say, and the next Twitter, very ambitious. I probably will say, oh yeah, sure, sure you will. But I try to ask them, okay, what's your background? How many developers you have to achieve this? What your plans in the technical space of the smart contract? What functions your smart contract will have? Will it have a tax, a burn? How this will be implemented? And so these kind of technical questions that are relevant to the product they supposedly will build, and see if they already plan it. Because if it's a scam or rug pull, generally they don't go deep on the details, because they don't plan to develop the product in the end. So it's a decent way to know, at least the first phase, to know if a project really has the intention to develop a product.
And then you said So before, when you said someone's staking their nulls, the project gets the nulls, and then the stakers receive the project tokens.
Mhm.
But if that project, doesn't that project already have access to that nulls if it's been
Ah,
staked against it?
no. What happens is those nulls are sent to a smart contract. This smart contract guarantees that the tokens the project commits will be distributed in 4 years. So once your tokens are sent to the smart contract underneath stakes these nodes in the Nulls blockchain. The rewards generated by this staking goes to the project. So the project has access to the rewards generated by the smart contract, not but the principal itself.
Mhm.
Uh,
So you're minimizing the exposure by doing that.
Of course, because
Mhm.
the nodes invested goes to a smart contract that the project do not have access. What the
Mhm.
project has access is to the rewards generated by these nodes, and that's it. So
Mhm.
the stakers, anytime they want, they can unstake and move to another project, and that's
Mhm.
it. And the projects stop receiving the rewards generated by those nulls. The smart contract always protects your nulls. Where these rewards came from? Well, it's the rewards generated by the network itself. So when you stake nulls, generally people receive more nulls, like 14% APY right now, as many POs derivative projects. But with this smart contract, with the SEO platform, these rewards, these nulls generated by your staking goes to the project, and the project just has access to these nodes, not to your stake. That's why your stake is always protected. You can always take it back no matter what happens, because the smart contract protects it.
And are you finding that that staked amount that they're receiving is usually enough for the projects, the 38 projects that came out board? Is that enough? I would say monthly, you know, runway to and burn to get them, up and running, or are some of them, depending on the launch, obviously, and the idea, right? They're not as successful. Or are you saying that the 38 projects that are part of it, like these are active and there's enough kind of runway there with that staking amount that they can grow and build the business in those early stages? Because as we know, a lot of the projects, it's going to take maybe a couple of years for these people to monetize, maybe potentially to the level that they want to. And a lot of venture backed kind of companies, will do a, series seed, series A, and then potentially figure out monetization around series B or series A with product market fit. So is it are you guys seeing that, or are you seeing that maybe there's some adjustments that might need to be made?
Well, of course, this is not for projects that require a great infuse of money first time the runs it. This is more like a community building process. So we help build your community and you get rewards for your efforts. Because in the end, it depends of the project. The more this project manage to attract stakers, the more they will receive. There is no correlation between the nulls they receive and the tokens the stakers will receive. So for this, they have access to our community directly. They can promote their project directly with our community, so they can get a lot more stakers. With our top projects, they receive a lot of money. I mean, we have like more than 1.5 million in our top project staked. So it's decent money that has to run month by month. Of course, it's not the case for everybody, but then again, it's in your hands because it's in the project's hands. Because if the project has good community communication, then people will just stake in your project. So it's not something we can guarantee, of course.
Yeah.
Some projects just are more slower reporting progress reports and communicating with the community. So stakers are more hesitant staking there, so they receive less proportion.
So our food truck idea probably not getting a lot of stakers is what you're trying to say.
Oh, you never know though. You might
you never know. That could be the biggest project.
You need a lot of
Especially
eaters
if there's a nice
too.
meme attached to it. So if you guys could, there's a lot of different projects out there. We've kind of gone through like the DeFi summer. We've got NFTs that are moving mainstream. A lot of people talking about stable coins right now. There's a lot of kind of narratives and things. The metaverse came and went in 90 days. What, snap your fingers right now. What would you love to, which type of project, if, we went and got applied right now, you see it come in your inbox, what would be like, I love this project. This is what I want to see built on Nulls next.
Me personally, I would like, for example, of course, follow the trend. NFT is the trend. NFT projects are born every day because it's easy to map physical goods with an NFT. So it's normal. The first phase of this big transition that the industry is experiencing is normal that NFT is the trend. So of course we want more NFT based projects. Metaverse is the next great big thing. So we are also searching for metaverse based projects and some gamify, of course. This is very more trickier because it's very difficult to have a very well balanced model that is sustainable long term for games to the play to earn model. But there are nice ideas that are worth exploring, and that's where we can help a little to create a community and bootstrap your project long term.
Cool. I like it. Kathy, what do you want to see built next?
I'm going to answer that question differently. It's always good for the projects if they have a new idea or something that hasn't been done before or something that's being done differently. But for me, I'm always interested to see the people who are in the project, the people who are driving the project and what their commitment is. That's really what I'm looking for.
Hit those early stages, right?
Go ahead, Joe. What?
No, I said especially at those early stages. It's all about the team.
Yeah, it is all about the team. And one of the things that we've noticed is that many of our projects have embraced NFTs, even though when they started, NFTs were, something way off in the distance. So sometimes these new things that come on board that are here for a short period of time in crypto or a long period, they get absorbed in whatever project. They get absorbed by the project anyway. It didn't have to be a core part of the project to begin with. But yeah, I'm in it for the team.
So you've talked a lot about, where Nulls is today. You got, I think you said 38 projects built on it. There's more in the wings. What can the community look forward to with Nulls? Like what's coming up and what should everyone get excited about?
Sure.
All right, please
please go, Kathy. Sorry.
No, I'd love to hear your opinion about that, and then I might have an opinion too. I'm not,
something that our community never complained is about our technology. I mean, they complain with price, with everything, but not with our technology. So we have developed a lot of products. We have a Neighbox, which is a MetaMask-like wallet. We have governance tools, and we have a lot. We have a AMM engine. We have a cross-chain blockchain that have bridges and so on. The next step will be to build a EVM compatible blockchain, which uses Nulls as the gas. So it just will create a new use case for Nulls, but also will be easier for other projects to port their smart contracts to our platform, because currently the smart contract engine uses Java, a subset of Java language, the smart contract engine. So we want to be compatible with the EVM. Why we have chosen a different smart contract engine is because you wouldn't be able to do something like SEO that we were talking about in an EVM-based platform. And that's the reason why probably you didn't see any other project or blockchain offering the same that we are able to offer. But the con is that it's difficult for other projects to migrate their contracts to our platform. So we are trying to solve that problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's I think one of the best that is one of the best projects that we have going, and it does change the face of Nulls. Yeah. What I'd like to see, so that's like number one. What I'd like to see, and we're starting to see this in our projects too, is that we all have to be educators in this space. We have to promote and, in my humble opinion, start thinking about how do we really bring new people on board in a comfortable, in a manner where they feel comfortable and safe. I don't know about you, but when I stepped into crypto, you know, I have the privilege of receiving tokens on a monthly basis from Nulls, but those tokens piled up for a while before I even tried to figure out how to cash them, because it was like, it was a while for me to figure out how to cash them, and a while before I actually hit return and said, yes, I know that I'm sending that to the correct address in a different blockchain, and it's not a smart contract. And yeah, I guess I am sure. Like one of the things that I've noticed with some of our projects is that they are really working to be a project that invites new people on board. And it's not easy to do that. You've got to be able to provide them with education and documentation and someone to talk to, because not everybody wants to read documentation. But we need to do that kind of thing in order to expand our space.
Awesome. Well, thank you both for coming on and talking to us a little bit about Nulls and all the work that you've been putting in, and really appreciate it and spending some time with us. But if everyone can find you guys, just let us know what's the website, Twitter account, where do you guys want to send everyone?
Nulls.io.
Nulls.io.
That's a good one. That is our best one.
Awesome. Well, cool. Well, Berzak, Kathy, it was a pleasure meeting you guys. John, as always, thanks for being and hanging out with us. Everyone in the community, thanks, and check them out, Nulls.io. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.